Let's just think about this for a second. Imagine cutting your biggest monthly expense by nearly three-quarters. Literally slashing it. Well, that is exactly the stark financial reality drawing people from all over the world to Southeast Asia right now. You see, rent in Vietnam is, on average, a massive 74.2% lower than in the US. So if that number just caught your attention, you are absolutely in the right place. Welcome to this explainer. I'm super excited to be your guide today as we unpack the expat's blueprint, relocating to Vietnam. You know, moving to a brand new country is just an incredible adventure, but let's be real, it comes with a pretty complex matrix of immigration laws, visa alphabets, and local regulations. But don't worry, today we're going to demystify all of that. We are breaking down the exact source data and legal documents you need to understand so you can make this transition smoothly and, most importantly, legally. All right, here's our quick roadmap for today. We're going to start with Vietnam's economic appeal. Then we'll navigate entry and visas, explore temporary residence cards, cover your legal obligations, and finally, take a look at the path to permanent residence. Let's get into it. Section 1. Vietnam's economic appeal. Okay, let's dive right into this, starting with those numbers that make this relocation so incredibly tempting. Take a look at the sheer affordability of daily life here, based on data from May 2026. For a single person, your estimated monthly costs, and this is excluding rent, hover around just 430 US dollars. That's a little over 11.3 million Vietnamese dong. Got a family of four? Those estimated monthly costs are just over 1,550 US dollars, or about 40.8 million dong. When you look at the big picture, the cost of living is, on average, 61.4% lower than in the US. That is huge. And when we add rent back into the equation, the savings become super tangible. Check out this number right here, just over 10.3 million dong, which is roughly 400 US dollars. That is the average monthly cost of a one-bedroom apartment right in the city center. And if you move outside the city center, that drops even further. The financial appeal is honestly undeniable, but, getting there requires passing through the gates first. Which brings us to Section 2, navigating entry and visas. This is where the practical reality of relocating really begins. You see, this isn't just about packing your bags and booking a flight. You're entering the jurisdiction of a highly structured state. The entry, exit, and residence of foreigners are heavily governed by the state management agencies of the Socialist Republic of Vietnam. You absolutely must have a valid passport, the correct visa, and you must not fall under any cases of suspension from entry. Now, Vietnam uses what looks like a total alphabet soup of visa symbols, but we can easily translate these into some relatable personas. If you're coming just to explore, you're looking at the DL Tourist Visa, which grants up to a 90-day stay. If you're a business investor coming to work with local enterprises, you'll need a DN1 for up to 12 months. The LD1 is for foreign work experts, lasting up to 2 years. And finally, the TT visa is for dependents, like spouses or children. But here's the major pain point of relying solely on a standard visa. You are strictly limited by time. A visa actually requires you to exit the country before it expires. And if you don't, well, overstaying incurs hefty fines of 500,000 dong per day for up to 30 days. Believe me, you really do not want to end up on the wrong side of immigration control here. Moving on to Section 3, temporary residence cards, or TRCs. For long-term stability, this is basically your holy grail. So, a TRC replaces your visa entirely. It allows multiple entries and exits without those stressful time checks at the border. But it's way more than just a travel document. It's actually the key to your financial foundation. Especially for expats over 50 who are planning a long-term stay, managing your finances is a massive part of daily life. Access to local banking heavily depends on maintaining these valid immigration documents. To receive funds from overseas or open a local account at banks regulated by the State Bank of Vietnam, they are going to require this official proof of residence right alongside your passport. And this table brilliantly illustrates how the system actually rewards your level of commitment to the country. A DT1 card for a large investor, someone contributing over 50 billion dong, grants a massive 10 years of stability. Mid-level investors and family members on DT2, DT3, or TT visas get 3 to 5 years, while foreign workers on LD cards get 2 years. Now, here's a question I hear all the time. Can you renew this temporary residence card indefinitely? The answer is yes. Under Article 40 of Decree 75/2020, TRCs are renewable without a fixed limit, as long as your eligibility conditions, like having an active work permit or an ongoing investment, continue to be met. All right, Section 4, Rules and Legal Obligations, because staying in Vietnam definitely means playing strictly by the book. Everything we're discussing today is governed by one specific legal document, Law No. 47/2014/QH13, along with its various amendments. This law mandates your compliance, outlines your rights, and explicitly details your responsibilities to the state. One of the absolutely non-negotiable processes every single expat must follow involves their daily address. You must provide your passport and visa info to your accommodation manager. They're then legally required to declare your temporary residence to the local commune or ward police station. If you move, or even if you're just staying at a different address temporarily, this local police registration has to be updated immediately. Let's run through a strict list of daily do's and don'ts to keep your status secure. You've got to comply with Vietnamese laws, respect cultural traditions, and absolutely never conduct activities outside your entry purpose, like working on a tourist visa. Always carry your passports and residence documents. And crucially, keeping this documentation pristine isn't just to keep the police happy, it's vital for your money. If you ever need to transfer funds back abroad, banks will rigorously check your residency status, the purpose of the transfer, and the source of your funds. It is so smart to prepare these financial records from your home country in advance. Keeping everything organized, along with perfectly updated address registrations, simplifies these banking procedures immensely. And that brings us to Section 5, the permanent residence path. Let's look at the ultimate, yet pretty elusive, path to putting down permanent roots. So unlike those TRCs, putting down permanent roots in Vietnam is highly restricted. Permanent residence is generally reserved for a very select few. Foreigners awarded medals for national contributions, highly specialized scientists, or those guaranteed by a Vietnamese spouse, parent, or child, provided they already have 3 years of continuous temporary residence. It's also available to stateless persons who have been living in Vietnam since the year 2000. It's a really narrow pathway. So, the crucial point to take away is this. Even if you do achieve permanent status, it doesn't mean you're totally free from the bureaucracy. Permanent residence cards still must be renewed every 10 years by checking in at your provincial public security department. Which brings us to our final thought. We started out by looking at living costs that are over 60% cheaper than in the US. But as we've seen, that incredible financial freedom is heavily gated by police registrations, strict visa limits, and the absolute necessity of maintaining flawless legal documentation for literally everything, from your right to simply stay in the country to your ability to open a bank account. So what do you think? Are the massive financial rewards of relocating to Vietnam worth mastering its intricate immigration matrix? That is for you to decide. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and keep learning.